Hey out there. If you're watching this video, you're probably thinking about opening up your own e-commerce store and selling some products. When it comes to e-commerce stores, you've got two options for content management systems. Well, you've got multiple, but these are the two most popular for starting out. One is WordPress, and WordPress uses a plugin called WooCommerce, which actually provides the e-commerce functionality that you need. The other CMS is Shopify, and Shopify is basically a quick setup, all means e-commerce store. I'm going to run you through when you would use either one of these, and you can sure read them yourself, but I'm going to give you some more details on each. You're going to want to use WordPress when you have some code or CMS experience. And it doesn't need to be a lot of code or CMS experience, but having a good idea of how HTML, CSS works is definitely going to help you, and it might make you prefer WordPress over something like Shopify. Use WordPress when you want more options over the look and feel of your e-commerce site. The general layouts that you get with Shopify are great, but you can only switch them up and change the look of them ever so slightly. You can't really get in depth of how you want to lay out things. Use WordPress when you want more control over search engine optimization. Not that Shopify sites aren't optimized or can't be optimized, but in my experience, I have found that you get more control over SEO when you're using a WordPress website. Use a WordPress website when you want to leverage content to sell. So this one needs a little bit of explaining. Here's how I'm going to do it. A typical e-commerce website, maybe something that Shopify might look like when you're done, is Nike. Nike's website is a good example of a pretty pure e-commerce sort of feeling to it. All right, they don't really use content to leverage their marketing in any way. So, not at least here they don't. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. On the other hand, when you go to a site like Amazon, yes, they are an e-commerce site, but what they do is they're big on leveraging content. So you see here they have the options to shop by pet. They have some options here to get 25% off, some incentive. Deals on pet supplies. It's very targeted with content. They can put this picture up, they can put this ad copy up, and this might be more targeted to somebody that they're trying to attract. And in doing so, by clicking on this, if I go to this, maybe these are the types of things that I was actually looking for. It makes my buying experience better. Another thing about leveraging content, if I can give you a better example, is over here. So if I was to look for dog toys, I'm looking for a ball for my dog, I see that we got the Chuck It over here. So the Chuck It, pretty cool looking, got all this information. This is the typical products detail page. You'll see this on your Shopify page, or you'll see this with WooCommerce on WordPress. And when you set up these pages, there's not much to it. You add a few images and make sure they're good images. You add a little bit of details, and then they kind of provide the buttons for you. But the one thing that WordPress does sort of offer over Shopify, another thing rather, is the ability to sort of leverage content. And that's what you're seeing right here from the manufacturer. So you're getting more information. The potential buyer is getting more information. They're being more informed about their decision to buy. And here is this is a great example of product leveraging right here, or content leveraging.
We got the Chuck It Kick Fetch.
And
Here's
basically, what it is. It's just a video of a customer showing the product in use. That's content leveraging. So that is something that is very popular. It's an effective marketing strategy. And if that's something you want to focus on, then you want to lean a little bit more towards the WordPress side when you're doing that. Continuing on, use WordPress when you want more functionality beyond just an e-commerce site. So there are tons of plugins and additional shortcodes and things like that can be used on WordPress to make it more than just an e-commerce website. And that might be important to you. Setting up like like mail blasts and all. I'm sure you could probably do that with Shopify. Just overall, if you want more functionality out of your website, you're going to want to use WordPress. If you want to include articles or blogs, so if you want to write articles about your products, have guest posts, all that type of stuff, then you're going to want to use WordPress. That's right up WordPress's alley. If you want to choose your own hosting and software providers, when it comes to hosting, you need to host your website somewhere. GoDaddy is an option, DigitalOcean's an option, But when you use Shopify, you're basically just using everything that Shopify provides. It's an all-in-one experience. So you get the hosting along with Shopify. Now let's move on to when you should use Shopify. You should use Shopify when you want to get a commerce site up as quick as possible. So you've got a product, maybe it's an MVP, minimum viable product, it's just something you want to show investors, and you need to get it up on a site. And then Shopify is probably going to be your best bet. When you have no coding or CMS experience and you don't plan on learning any, again, Shopify is the way to go. It doesn't require any coding or anything like that sort of knowledge. You're okay with paying between $30, $29 to $2.99 per month to Shopify. Now, of course, it's not going to be $299 right away. It shouldn't be, but as you sort of scale, you do sort of incur those costs. So that's something to consider. You're not overly concerned with text or media content and the placement thereof. That's sort of what we talked about with how the site looks overall. So over here, you get more control with WordPress, how the site looks. You get less control with Shopify. You don't leverage content to sell your products, which we covered over here in WordPress. If you don't plan on doing that, then again, Shopify is probably for you. You're not overly concerned with SEO. You don't have as much flexibility and options, in my opinion, when it comes to Shopify. There's just too much you can do with WordPress. I mean, you can really get down to each detail and each meta on each page and optimize it little by little. So I don't think Shopify can compete. And lastly, if you're worried about 24/7 support with Shopify, and that doesn't necessarily mean phone support, it could be chat related, but you do get some sense of support. Now, one last thing worth noting is that when you get a WordPress site up and running, you're probably going to pay bare minimum, and it's about $5 per month to put it on a server to host your e-commerce website, and that's fine, that's fair. So hopefully when you look at these options that you have with both of these and when you should use them, it gives you a much clearer picture on what you should be focusing on or the people you should be trying to find to help you set up each of these specific content management systems per your need. Good luck out there with your e-commerce building, and have a good day.